Hello, how are you? This is Heena from Team TES, and I welcome you in my session of question answer discussion to help you with NET, SET, GATE, and other competitive exams. Okay, the book we have begun is What, When, Why, How. I keep it with me as my best friend whenever I feel low, whenever I feel happy, whenever I want to read something, whenever I want to expand my knowledge. I get in touch with this book. If you want your own copy, because it comes with explanation to all the answers of the questions, you can call us on 93878 39871. So let's move on with today's question number one on your screen. This is from American literature. Which of the following poems uses the refrain, Nevermore? Your options are A, The Raven, B, The Lay of the Last Minstrel, C, Christabel, or D, Lamia. A poem in which you hear the word nevermore, nevermore, nevermore. The answer is option A, The Raven. And who has composed it? You know it, Edgar Allan Poe. Shall we start a little bit about the poem? Well, first, Edgar Allan Poe, was an American writer, poet, and a literary critic. His lifespan was from 1809 to 1849. He was with us for a very short time span, just 40 years. In America, he is considered as a pioneer and a torch bearer of short story, detective fiction, and science fiction. In fact, in his essay, The Philosophy of Composition, he has commented that the raven is the primary symbol in his poems. Why? Because ravens are usually considered the harbingers or the messengers of death, evil, supernatural. और रेवन क्या होते हैं? काले कौवे हमारे यहाँ बहुत मिलते हैं. इंग्लिश में बोलते हैं raven. So now let's talk about the major characters in this poem, The Raven. You will understand the story also because it's a long narrative poem. It was published in the year 1845 and it is in 18 stanzas. Okay. Now, the first important character in the poem is, of course, the speaker. The speaker is bleak, dreary, depressed because he has lost his lady love, whose name is Lenore. Okay, Lenore is no more. The second is the raven. Now, this crisp black bird enters the poet's room and he sits on the bust of Pallas Athena. Who is Pallas? You know it. She is the Greek goddess of wisdom. And sitting up there in the poet's room, the raven utters only one word throughout the poem, and that word is nevermore. Here comes the answer to the question. Now, what happens when the speaker sees the bird? First of all, he is shocked, but then he takes it as a symbol or a sign of heaven and afterlife. Okay. So he begins with a rational conversation with the raven, thinking that, the raven will answer him back like an ordinary human being. The raven does answer, but he answers only in one word. Answer only one word, and that word is nevermore. So when the poet asks him that will I meet my lady love in afterlife, later he says, can you give me a potion so that I forget Lenore? Later he says, Raven, you will also leave me like every beloved of mine leaves me the next morning. You will also leave me and go. He says all this to the raven, but the raven says, nevermore, nevermore, nevermore. And this makes the speaker enter the zone of sadness, disparity, etc., etc. The theme of this poem, the raven is death, afterlife, loss, and grief. And it is basically a Gothic poem. Okay, we're done. We're done with question number one. Let's move on to question number two. In which play by Eliot is the protagonist pursued by the mythical Eumenides? Your options are A, the cocktail party, B, murder in the cathedral, C, the elder statesman, or D, the family reunion. Question from modernism, modernist literature. Which protagonist he is pursued by Eumenides or Furies? Well, the answer is option D, the family reunion. You know it, T.S. Eliot was born in America but later settled in Britain. His lifespan 1888 to 1965. He wrote very few poems, although we know him as a poet, because the few poems that he wrote are full of worth and wisdom. And his seven plays, the ones that he wrote, are also very famous. And out of those plays, the one is Family Reunion. Well, this play was first performed in the year 1939 in London. A little bit about the play. The setting of the play is Wishwood, which is a stately home in the north of England. And the major characters of this play are, listen to me, important. First, Amy. Amy is a widow and has invited her entire family for her upcoming birthday party. Amy's husband was in love with her sister Agatha, and in fact, there was a time when he tried to kill her wife when she was pregnant, kill his wife when she was pregnant. Okay, now the second character of the play is Harry. Harry is Amy's oldest son. Out of the three sons that she has, the other two could not attend the family reunion, the birthday party, but Harry did come. And it is Harry. He is the protagonist who is actually pursued by Eumenides. और अब आप पूछेंगे Eumenides क्या है? Eumenides were the female supernatural deities of vengeance and revenge, according to Greek mythology, right? Now, Harry is a little unstable mentally because he has a guilt that he has killed his wife. Although he never liked her, but the truth is that he did not kill her and it was an accident. Okay. But that guilt is in him and he sees these Eumenides or Furies, the same Eumenides who were after Orestes in Orestia. Remember the tragedy by Aeschylus? And these Eumenides are not just seen by Harry, they are also seen by his servant and Aunt Agatha. The third character you must know from the family reunion is Mary. Now, Mary is the niece and caretaker of Amy. She is alone. She does have a little bit good time with Harry at the birthday party, but eventually, when Harry learns the truth about his father, he moves from guilt to redemption and he decides to leave Wishwood, his mother, and go away. Finally, the end of the play is that Amy dies with these lines from the play. An old woman alone in a damned house. So did you understand? The name of the play is ironic. It says the family reunion, but it was nothing of a reunion, right? You got it? Good information. Did you like it? If you did, you should comment. Okay. Let's move on to question number 3. This question is from literary theory. Which of the following writers was praised by Mikhail Bakhtin for the dialogic nature of his novels? Your options are A. Leo Tolstoy, B. Fyodor Dostoevsky, C. Charles Dickens, or D. Maxim Gorky. Mikhail praised one of these for the dialogic nature in his novels. Well, the answer is option B, Fyodor Dostoevsky. A little bit about Mikhail Bakhtin. You know, he was a major Russian theorist who lived from 1895 to 1975. To understand this dialogic nature of novels, you must first understand polyphony. Polyphony is again a term which was explained by Mikhail beautifully for the novels. Okay. Polyphony originally is a term related to music. Please listen, this is an important concept. It can come in exam. Okay. Now, originally, polyphony is a term related to music where different melodic lines, they play simultaneously to achieve a harmony. Okay. Now, Mikhail says that polyphony is a unique characteristic of prose literature, that is, of a novel. Because in a novel, each character has his or her own contesting voice. Each character has his or her own ideological position. All the characters engage equally in the dialogue, and there is not much authorial judgment or dictatorship. I'm not saying that the author is dead, No, the author is not dead in polyphony. It's just that author acts very democratically. He is also like another character. He exists. His voice is just like the other characters. Okay. Now, from polyphony, oh, wait, I should give you an example of polyphony to make you understand better. My family is a polyphonic family. Why? Because all the members in my family have their own voice, have their own ideological position, and we live in mutual consent. We have our own voices, we have equal dialogues, and this leads to the novels which are dialogic. Okay. Now, in dialogic novels, the characters, they are with their own voice, they are having a dialogue with each other, but then there is no single point of view. No single point of view. Why? Because there are many voices, and the result is the tension within the text is not resolved. Okay. But so what? Let the tension remain, let the conflict remain. Na tum jeete na hum, na tum hare na hum. Right? So, in a polyphonic novel, as I told you, the different elements within the text are in a dialogic relationship, right? So polyphony related to dialogism. Easy, very easy. And in these dialogic novels, as I told you, there is no closure, no finalizing. Now, look at these words in red. Bakhtin discussed Dostoevsky's novels as examples of dialogism in his works. First, problem of Dostoevsky's poetics, and second, the dialogic imagination. To make something very nice and easy for you, I have quoted something that Bakhtin wrote for Dostoevsky. What unfolds in his work is not a multitude of characters and fates in a single objective world, illuminated by a single authorial consciousness, rather a plurality of consciousness with equal rights and each with its own world, combined but are not merged in the unity of the event. Dostoevsky's major heroes are, by the very nature of their creative design, not only objects of authorial discourse, but also subjects of their own directly signifying discourse. In short, if I tell you, Bakhtin says that the characters in Dostoevsky's works, they do not belong to a single objective world. They do not have a single authorial dictatorship. Rather, there is a plurality of consciousness. They have their own voice, their own rights, their own world, their own points of views. They do combine, but they are not merged in the unity. Okay. They are together in the novel. They are combined together, but their own individuality. Okay. And Dostoevsky's heroes are not objects of the author's discourse. They little bit author does intervene, but they are the subjects of their own signifying discourse. Good enough. Few of important Dostoevsky's works that you must know about are The Idiot, The Brother Karamazov, and Crime and Punishment. Important novels. Can we move on now? You liked it? Yes, you do, right? If you want your own book, you should contact TES. All these questions are from this book. Let's move on to question number 4. Neoclassical satire was influenced by the Roman satirists dash and dash. Your options are A. Menippus and Juvenal, B. Menippus and Seneca, C. Persius and Juvenal, or D. Horace and Juvenal. The neoclassical satire was influenced by? Your answer is D. Horace and Juvenal. A little bit about neoclassical period, the period of 17th and 18th century, which was marked by reason, morality, and order. One dominant type of writing during this period was the satire. So what is a satire? It's a social commentary. It's a type of writing where you ridicule an object, maybe a thing or a person. It's a mix of irony, sarcasm, and humor to mock somebody, as I told you. Now, there are 3 types of satires in English literature. There is Horatian, Juvenalian, and Menippean. I will discuss the 2 here, Horatian and Juvenalian, to help you with this question. I changed my voice now. Horatian satire is a very loving kind of satire. where you playfully criticize a vice through gentle humor. It uses weight, exaggeration to ridicule vices. It does not consider vices to be evil. No, no. It considers it to be just a folly or a foolish mistake. For example, when my daughter does not wake up early in the morning, I satirize her in a Horatian manner. I say, "Come on, baby, please get up. You will be late for school. Your teacher will scold you." What am I doing? Horatian satire. Now let's come to the Juvenalian satire. Okay, this is a darker, more serious, more pessimistic type of satire. Why? Because it uses anger, characterized by irony, serious sarcasm, personal invective. Usually, political satires are like this. Did you get it? I changed my tone to make you understand it better. Horatian satire, Juvenalian satire. Now, few examples of Horatian satire: Alexander Pope's The Rape of the Lock, moral essays, and essays on criticism. While examples of Juvenalian satires are Samuel Johnson's London and The Vanity of Human Wishes. This takes us to the last question of the day. It was that Dash who brought French symbolism to the attention of Yeats. Your options are A. Arthur Symons, B. A.C. Swinburne, C. Alfred Tennyson, or D. Robert Bridges. Yeats was inspired from who of these? And he loved symbolism because of him. The answer is option A, Arthur Symons. Well, Arthur William Symons was a British poet, critic, and a magazine editor. His lifespan was from 1865 to 1945. Now, understand Arthur's inspiration first so you can connect. Arthur Symons was inspired by French writers Charles Baudelaire and Paul Verlaine. Okay, so his style of poems and subject matter was erotic and very vivid in description, right? And he contributed to the Yellow Book. Now, what is a Yellow Book? It was a literary periodical which was published in London from the year 1894 to 1897. In the Yellow Book, Arthur gave his essays and poems. But when this periodical stopped, he combined these poems and essays and formed his own book. Which book? This book on your screen, The Symbolist Movement in Literature in 1899. And it was this book that finally inspired Yeats, in fact, T.S. Eliot also, and they fell in love with symbolism. जाते जाते बता ही दूं symbolism होता क्या है. Little bit brief, okay? Symbolism was a 19th century art movement of France and Belgium. What happens in symbolism is the truth is represented through symbols. Anything is represented through symbols. This is the easiest definition. I'll first give you examples from daily life, right? You order food. If it is a vegetarian food, there is a green color square. That is the symbol that the food is veg. But if you order a non-veg food, the square becomes red. Red is the symbol of non-veg. Symbolism. Second example, you want to use a restroom. What do you see? Symbols outside the restroom, right? अगर एक लड़की बनी हुई है तो वो सिंबल है लेडीज रेस्टरूम का. अगर एक बॉय बना हुआ है तो वो सिंबल है एक बॉयज रेस्टरूम का. So male and female, right? Similarly, we have flags, we have coins, everything is a symbol. So now let's take this. Yeats actually used a lot of symbols in his poetry. One such symbol was rose, right? Rose for him symbolized beauty, love, life, hope, and sometimes esoteric. Okay. And other symbols that Yeats used, they were tower, sun, moon, gold, etc. And we are done. If you found this session good, you must comment. And if you want your own book of what, when, why, how, you can contact TES on 93878 39871. This is Heena from Team TES. Bye-bye. Have a lovely weekend and I will see you again next Monday. Bye.